Welcome along to the Olive Grove. We're your shortcut to getting, well, properly informed without all the usual noise. Here on the Deep Dive, we basically take a bunch of sources, pull out the key stuff, and hopefully share some insights that, make you think. Today, we're getting into something pretty deep, the power of prayer, actually, and we're using the ancient wisdom of Psalm 6 as our guide. Yeah, our main source is this online study, MCS Psalm 6. Gives us a really specific angle on these verses.
Exactly, and that's what we want to do, right? It's not just reading old words. It's more about unpacking the layers, seeing how it connects historically, but also how it actually hits home for us today. Because David's honesty here, it's so raw, makes it incredibly relatable, I think. Gets you thinking about your own stuff.
Absolutely. So our mission, really, for this deep dive is to try and unearth some of those critical insights, about David's relationship with God and the nature of prayer itself. What does it all mean for how we think about faith and God's timing? The study we're using actually promises that David wasn't just someone who prayed a lot. He genuinely knew God would hear and answer.
Yeah, and that's huge, isn't it? That confidence, it really sets up the whole theme for us.
It does, that connection. So, okay, let's dig in. Let's kick things off right at the beginning of Psalm 6. Those first lines. For the director of music, with stringed instruments. According to Sheminith, a psalm of David. It immediately sort of paints a picture, doesn't it? Suggests something formal.
Maybe
in public.
Oh, definitely.
It's like this wasn't just a quiet prayer in his head. It was a song, a performance maybe.
It absolutely was. And it gives us so much context right away. I mean, it tells us straight up, this was a song with music, stringed instruments specifically. And that little bit, Sheminith, our source suggests that likely points to a specific musical style, or maybe an instrument like an 8-stringed lyre. It just shows how central music was to worship back then, a really physical, expressive thing.
Right.
And the source makes this a really interesting point about it, how historically some traditions have been a bit wary of instruments in worship, like it's showing off piety or something if you avoid them.
Huh.
Yeah. But the study just lays it out. If it was good enough for King David, it should be all right for us. And that does make you think, doesn't it? Maybe sometimes we overcomplicate things, put restrictions on what was just a really natural, joyful expression of faith for David.
Yeah, like imposing our modern ideas onto it.
Exactly. A good reminder to maybe question some assumptions.
That's a great point. So from that musical setting, David just plunges right into this cry of, sheer desperation. Verses 1 to 3. He's pleading, Adonai, don't rebuke me in your anger. Don't discipline me in the heat of your fury. Be gracious to me, Adonai, because I'm withering away. Heal me, Adonai, because my bones are shaking. I am completely terrified. And you, Adonai, how long?
Oh, wow. You can almost feel the groaning in those words. It's not polite prayer, is it? It's just raw.
It is so raw. The study says exactly that. So you can almost feel the groaning. But what's really striking, beyond just the emotions, how David approaches God. He doesn't come saying, look how good I've been, or anything like that. He does not come to God on the basis of his works, as the study puts it. He just cries out for mercy, for grace.
Right, based on who God is, not who he is.
Precisely. And our source really connects this to a Christian understanding, that our requests aren't based on what we've done. They're seen as being on the basis of what Christ has done for us. It completely flips the script from earning favor to just receiving it.
And then that question, that desperate how long? Our study notes David had apparently been praying for a while about this. The attacks, the suffering, it just kept going. And that hits home, doesn't it? That waiting.
Oh, definitely. We've all been there.
Asking that same question when things just drag on and on. The study points out that, God has his own timing and purposes. The answer might not be on our schedule or look how we expect, but the source concludes his answer will be what is best for his children. That takes a whole lot of trust, doesn't it? Especially when you're in the middle of it.
How long? Yeah, that's definitely a question I think everyone asks at some point when you just feel stuck. But then David sort of shifts gears, right? In verse 4, he moves from that desperation to this plea. Come back, Adonai, and rescue me. Save me for the sake of your grace. He's appealing to something bigger. Something about God's own nature, not because he deserves it.
Exactly. That's the anchor point. God's character, God's love, God's grace. It's not because of anything that he has done, as the study says. And here's where our source brings in a really profound distinction. It changes how we see the whole struggle.
Okay.
So yes, David had physical enemies, men chasing him. That was real. But the study says It was the devil who was the real enemy behind it.
Ah, so a spiritual dimension,
No,
too.
primary spiritual dimension, according to this view. And that applies to us too, right? We focus on the boss, the bills, the illness, the tangible stuff. But this study points to a deeper adversary who seeks to destroy us, a battle behind the scenes.
Right, okay.
But here's the hope the source gives. We have the answer when we appeal to God's love as demonstrated through his Son. Our study actually calls it a constant battle for men to accept the fact that God will save us not because of what we have done, but because of who he is.
Wow.
Yeah, it's all about grace, salvation, rescue.
Right.
It's not earned. It's received because of who God is. Liberating, really.
That totally reframes it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Puts the struggle on a different level, but still emphasizes God's love being the answer. And David keeps going with this almost like a logical argument in verse 5. For in death, no one remembers you. In Sheol, who will praise you? It sounds a bit like he's trying to, persuade God, like, keep me alive so I can praise you.
Yeah, you could read it that way, like he's giving God some new information. But our study argues it's not really about informing God. God knows this, right? It's more that David is reminding himself, vocalizing it for his own sake.
Okay.
He's reminding himself of what the source calls the purpose of all mankind is to praise and worship God.
Yeah.
It's like grounding himself in that ultimate purpose, a declaration almost.
Right.
And the study suggests David found encouragement in this, knowing that those who praise him will not be forsaken. It draws this direct line between living out your purpose worship and experiencing God's faithfulness, his protection.
You can almost hear him finding strength in saying that out loud. But it's definitely not an easy ride, not a quick fix. Because in verses 6 and 7, he's right back in the thick of the struggle. I am worn out with groaning. All night I drench my bed with tears, flooding my couch till it swims. My vision is darkened with anger. It grows weak because of all my foes. I mean, that's just raw, unfiltered exhaustion and pain. Very human.
Incredibly human. And the study acknowledges this. It says, even though he knows that God will take care of him, he still has struggled. And that speaks volumes to us, doesn't it? We all wrestle with that gap sometimes between our timing and God's timing.
Yeah, definitely.
We wonder, why doesn't God just fix it right now? Why does he sometimes allow us to struggle for a time? It's a big mystery for a lot of people, a real point of spiritual wrestling.
For sure.
But the message from the source here is pretty clear and actually quite comforting. We, like David, must simply trust in God and realize that his timing is perfect. It's about building that patience, that faith, even when, your pillow is soaked. It's often in that struggle that trust really gets forged, doesn't it?
That's a tough lesson, but yeah, essential for getting through life, I think. And then something amazing happens, a real turning point in the prayer. Suddenly, in verses 8 and 9, there's this surge of confidence. It's almost startling. Get away from me, all you workers of evil, for Adonai has heard the sound of my weeping. Adonai has heard my pleading. Adonai will accept my prayer. It's a complete 180 from despair to just absolute certainty. How does that happen?
Okay, yeah, this is really key according to our study. This is where it gets fascinating. The study explains that this sudden confidence, this shift, it came directly from his right relationship with God.
The relationship again.
Exactly. He didn't just hope God heard him, he knew it. Because of that connection. And this leads to a really crucial point the source makes about prayer today. It notes that while prayer has become a popular thing, you hear about it everywhere. Many people forget something vital.
What's that?
That according to this view, quote, the ability to pray to God is based on our right relationship with him through Jesus Christ. It's not just about saying words, even sincere words. It's about the foundation, that personal connection. That's what gives prayer its legitimacy and power in this understanding.
So it's more than just technique or asking for things.
Much more. It's rooted in who you are in relation to God. That relationship makes all the difference.
That's a powerful distinction. It really elevates it beyond just a spiritual practice. It's about connection. And David's certainty just ramps up to this triumphant declaration in the final verse, verse 10. All my enemies will be confounded, completely terrified. They will turn back and be suddenly put to shame. He's not hoping anymore. He knows.
He absolutely knows. And that last verse, it really drives home the timeless truth our study emphasizes, that God takes care of his own even today, just as he did for David. It's this bold statement of divine protection, of ultimate victory for those connected to him.
Yeah.
And the source reminds us that knowing this, having this confidence in God's ultimate care, it can help us to praise God even through the difficult times. Because, despite the tears, the groaning, the struggle, God's faithfulness wins out in the end. It gives you a reason to praise even when things look bleak.
What an incredible arc within just one psalm. Amazing. So just to kind of wrap up the core ideas from this deep dive, David's example, it really shows us the power of prayer, right? But a power that's rooted in God's grace, his love, not our own efforts. And it teaches us to look beyond the surface problems, to see the spiritual battle
The
maybe.
true enemy, yeah.
Right. And maybe the biggest thing is trusting God's timing, even when we were screaming, how long?
And tying it all together, the big takeaway, as our source really stressed, is the relationship, that connection with God through Jesus Christ. That's presented as the absolute foundation, the real basis for authentic prayer, for seeing God move. It's not a formula, it's connection.
That's definitely a powerful thought to leave you, the listener, with. How does your own way of praying reflect how you see your relationship with God? And thinking about David's journey from desperation to faith, this whole deep dive kind of invites that bigger question, doesn't it? The one lurking underneath, how to be saved. It connects to everything about grace and God's action we talked about.
It really does. These ancient words, they still push us to ask the biggest questions about faith, purpose, our connection to the divine.
Well, that brings us to the end of this deep dive. Thanks so much for joining us as we explore the power of prayer through Psalm 6. We really hope you'll keep digging into these ideas on your own journey. And hey, for more discussions like this, please do subscribe to the Olive Grove Podcast on YouTube. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep asking those big questions.